What's up, guys? Pittsburgh White Shorts back again with another Rush Rundown. This time we're going to go over original Love Live in the English competitive metagame. This will be a quick, concise overview of Love Live's strengths, weaknesses, and notable cards that you need to know in order to effectively play into it, all in 10 minutes or less. While these aren't meant to be totally comprehensive, we do have a lot of information on all of these slides, so if I'm moving a bit too fast, feel free to pause and read all the information we got up there. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So the basics. So while Original Love Live is a bit of a dated set, it does have like sort of halfway there profiles of most modern cards. It runs a typical advantage combo at level 1 and then into finishing combos at level 3. Or it's just a waifu deck. Don't worry about those. They're all garbage. Basically, for reverses, all the meta decks that mix all the Muse Girls rely on a on-reverse Minami combo. It's a Maki to mill and plus. And then the top end runs the usual old set Clock Kicker, which is off typically a Barb. There are a bunch of climaxes. It's the We Are a Single Light. Waifu decks, again, they run a bunch of combos, but none of them matter, and most of them need reverse. So just watch out for those. Make sure you read your opponent's cards. So getting into notable cards, we got this Kotri Anti-Runner. So despite it not being able to kill a lot of the cards that go to level 1 now, so like the Futaba profile, or the Chisato from Bang Dream, or even the Goblin Slayer Chaser, it does outrunners, which are still extremely popular in English. Just a notable profile that you don't see show up pretty much anywhere anymore, so we wanted to make sure we noted it in this overview. But yeah, pretty simple card. We can move on here. So Rin Fumio, so this is actual Fumio, same as Aqua from Konosuba, except that Love Live usually can't kill you from the bottom of level 2. If you can, make sure you refresh at the end of your turn if you have the option to, whether you're going down to 4 cards or 3 cards. Leaving a grave is exactly what Fumio wants, so that they can decompress you. Shows up in pretty much all decks at like a 1 or 2 count, and this actually still sees play in JP, it's so strong, as like a 1 or 2 of. So really powerful card, really important profile to keep in mind. A lot of people forget that Love Live has access to this. Moving on to this, so this is a bit of a high roller card. So this LE Brainstorm, we don't really care too much about the Brainstorm effect, although it is plussing, so it is a usable card. When they play this card, they pop the top card of your stock, choose a climax in your waiting room, and put it into your stock. That doesn't sound great, it's just a one stock troll, but when you combine it with Fumio and the stock swap we'll talk about later, it can create some really crazy high roll situations where you will just explode because you have almost no climaxes in your deck. Pretty much one of the only ways that the deck can sort of just like randomly win the game. Still not very common, usually like a 1 of or 2 of in like some decks. Some people don't even run it. But it is important to keep in mind if you're like, you think like, oh, I'm safe, I have like 3 or 4 climaxes, I'll be fine. They can kill you anyway. So important to remember. This is the stock swap I just talked about. Just normal on-play stock swap, pay 1. Can't come down early, so you're safe until level 3. The normal anti-stock swap strategies work if you have the opportunity to pay out your stock going into level 3, unlike maybe playing another wordly play when you otherwise wouldn't against another deck. Might be a good idea. It's one of the only ways if you're really compressed that the deck can kill you. So just important to keep that in mind. Last one, we got this Rin Brainstormer. This is basically the only Brainstorm that the meta decks run. It's a self-rest search. We don't really care about that too much playing into it. What we care about is that it gives an extra 500 power to all of our opponent's backups. Just add 500 power to all backup thresholds. This is on the field, and you'll be okay. Just really important to remember these effects because you'll get screwed over by them if you forget. The counters, the 2 on the ends, not as important. We have one that lets them search their deck when they play it, or only really played in Rin waifu decks. We have, it's like Sayaka's Wish, sacks one of their characters and they heal. So just sort of remember those if you see them. But the big ones you're looking out for, you're looking for at the free fresh counter. They clock themselves to free fresh when they play it, so they can fix their deck state. And also this Hanayo that can mill your deck for 3 when they play it. Those effects are really underrated, and some people tech those into their lists. It can be a powerful effect when used correctly. We've all played into Love Live Sunshine and got hit by the Ruby one. This one's just a worse version of that. So clear, so this is the main way Original Love Live is going to deal with early plays. The main one is this Kotri that you see here on the left. It's going to swing in at 13, and they all run We Are a Single Light. Like I said earlier, this card can also burn you. So this is going to show up in pretty much every deck. It's a good out to early plays and a good way for them to push extra damage. Common builds, like I said, every single one of them is going to run We Are a Single Light. The most popular version of that is the Nico Bar, but there are many versions. There's also a Maki Pants that is intended to go with the blue level 1, although pretty much everybody just runs the bar because it's a plussing trigger. They all go into this Nico Clock Kick, which is like pay 1 on reverse. They clock kick. They have to pay the stock up front. Otherwise, they usually play like Empty Gate just for the plussing. Some of them run this Rin Stock Soul with like a back row card that when you play the climax, if they have 5 or more stock, they get to mill for and add a card. I've seen it pop up in some lists and thought it was probably the most notable other build. But basically, you're just going to see Weir as single light. It doesn't change how you play into the deck. Final review, yes, they do have a Ricky, but it's only in Coterie decks. It is a normal on-play Ricky, but again, only Coterie, doesn't really work in the meta deck, so you won't see it ever. So yeah, you can level lock them. Anti-cheat counter bombs clears, they only have clears, and again, they're gonna run the Coterie one, so like your threshold is like 13k, 14k power. So just remember that if you're trying to wall up with early plays, protecting with backups. Most popular build, bar and something else. Usually just, you know, empty gate or something like that, or whatever they choose to pick. Doesn't really matter. Doesn't change how you play into it. Their most valuable card is definitely the Maki Azusa. So this is one of those old sets that has access to like a true on-play, pitch a card, top check 4, add a character. It gives them really good deck speed. It lets them be a lot more on top of their deck state than other old decks. So that's something to remember. If you're trying to like screw them out by just like, this is a deck that can't mill. Love Live can mill, so something to keep in mind. So what's it strong at? It plays a very normal game. It plays a level 1 combo into a burn finisher. These are very normal decks. People know how to pilot them. They're very simple. However, like we said, it is underpowered. They're also, you know, they present that stock swap in Fumio. That's a huge threat. If you're playing a stock strike strategy, they can just deny you. They can just kill you. So that's something to really keep in mind when you're going into those endgame turns. That's probably what they're fishing for. One of the only ways that they can push a lot of damage. What's it weak at? A lot of stuff, but the main ones are winning board on either turn just because their things only hit low power. So the Maki is only going to get to like 55 on the first swing, successive ones maybe 65, 75. That's really small, even if the Maki sits cross turn with some extra power. So you can pretty easily wall it out with almost anything modern. And it's really bad at dealing with early play spams. It can only really answer one of them in one lane since it only has clears. So you're pretty safe to just sort of spam as many EPs as you want, unless they like triple field Coterie on you, which is crazy. Set popularity, despite it being an old and underpowered set, people love Love Live and they're gonna play it. Medium to low popularity, you have a good chance of running into something, whether it be a waifu deck or the Muse deck. So it's not as irrelevant as you'd think. And that's basically Love Live. If you like this video, drop a like or a comment. Let us know how we did. That really helps us out. We're going to be releasing more of these Rush Rundowns on Mondays and Wednesdays. Our usual deck techs still come out on Fridays, so keep an eye out for those. Along with all these links that you see up on screen that we drop at the end of all our videos, we're going to link some sample deck lists for Muse and stuff like that in the description if you want to get a better idea of the full deck list that you'd see at like a Shop Challenge or a Regional. With that, I think we're done. Pittsburgh White Shorts signing off. We'll see you all in the next one.